Okay. I like. Mm, mm, very sad. Very sad. Yep. I watched nearly all of them. There's probably a couple I missed here and there, but I either watched them when they were happening or I went back and watched like at least the important ones. I think the only one I happened to miss, as far as like the majority of it, was Damwon Invictus, but I've seen enough of the highlights and like heard enough about what happens. Yeah. But yeah, I got to experience the crushing sadness of seeing Liquid fall apart on Saturday, in person, or rather live, not in person. Ugh. Hmm. What? No way. Exactly. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I don't understand people that try to place him at some upper tier of supports. I think he's kind of bad. Um, yeah, I every time I've seen him, he's made really foolish, like late career Afromu-esque like bad plays, and I've really never been impressed by him. I do agree with the general consensus on Cody Sun that he's really improved and that he is actually like an upper tier NA AD carry. I don't think he's like world class, but I do think on the world stage he wouldn't be trash anymore or anything like that. But for Vulcan, no, I don't see it at all. Hey, hey. You're okay, cool. Wow. We're oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. And yeah. it was reminiscent of like the SKT Fnatic game where even though it looked close, like SKT was in control the whole time. Like that's how it was with Liquid. Like it was like, what is this? And they were even against Invictus, they were ahead, and then they didn't even throw, they just didn't act. And they had like multiple moments where they could have taken over the game and they just didn't and kind of like sat back. But like that's not horrible. It's like, okay, cool, like fixable mistake. And then yeah. I okay, so and I guess we can like since both of us feel strongly about an A, we probably could start with like group D and some of the teams there. Like okay, going through the games, group D, yeah, which is the yeah, the yeah. It's okay. Um it's all good. you, you say that internally to yourself too. Uh, it's all good. But group D being Invictus Gaming, Dem One, Team Liquid, and AHQ. Um, I think AHQ was just kind of they just kind of existed to annoy everyone. Like they didn't particularly matter in the group. Mhm. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. I don't know what happened. Like Jensen was a huge problem the whole like tournament. Like I think well like I heard some criticism levied against Uplifton while he wasn't like the best ever. He had some team fights that he like solo carried, and I feel like he did as much as he could. Made like small mistakes here and there, but I actually thought he had a pretty good tournament. Like there were some scraps, some skirmishes, some pressure that he created, that he and Core created that like were really like high level stuff, and they were. I think Damwon knew that, and I think that Canyon was camping the hell out of bot lane because they knew that if Doublelift and Core JJ were just left alone down there, they were going to roll over their bot lane. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yeah. His like first game or two was bad, but yeah, then from there he had a meteoric rise. Uh, But, but yeah, and like that's I think that's something a lot of people can agree with considering you look around at Korea and like yeah, you have Faker in there, but then you have Klid, who was someone who was in Korea, went to China, came back. You have Chovy, and you have Nuguri, you have Showmaker, you have Nuclear, like you have Ken, you have all these like core players coming out of nowhere. And like I yeah, it is nice to see that. That being said, like it's definitely a mixed bag because it's not as if other regions don't also abuse imports to be the best. Like no one's sitting here looking at China saying it's a failed region because like even though all of their major teams have Korean carries, like IG has had a huge resurgence. Exactly, and so are Doinb and Gimgoon, and those are the two teams that like made it through. So it's yeah, but no, it's obviously nice to see Demonte on a world stage being able to like get all this experience. Uh, but when it comes to Liquid, like it was just it oh, no, it's yeah, 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 yep. That was the whole point of bringing Jensen. Left up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm. 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 Mm, yeah, yeah. How are they like posturing in lane, and how are they like aggressing or hesitating? Yeah. Hmm. I mean, what do you think Faker does like 95% of the time? Hmm. Mm, yep. Yeah. Yeah. So they were playing it. Yeah. They were playing it until Rookie absolutely mauled them on it, and then it was like, oh, okay, I play Akali, but I don't like play Akali. Like, yeah, I completely agree. It's not. optional. It's just a standard. Like you see, mm, yeah, yeah. And I think we saw that back in like Bjergsen's prime. He pretty much could pick up anything. Like he could pick up the sign, he could pick up the Cho'Gath, he could pick up an Urgot, and still like do things. It wasn't like yeah, yeah, pretty much. Um, but no, yeah, I completely agree on like champion pool, these standards of excellence. Like when it comes to like the elite teams, like it's not optional. Like Liquid had a huge exploitable weakness in that they did not play Kiana. Um, well, like they didn't play Kiana and they didn't play Kale. You never saw Impact or Jensen looking at Kale. And on top of that, even if they did play certain champions, they didn't like share champions between top and mid lane or even bottom lane, as in the case with like G2. So you couldn't flex these champions, so it was pretty easy to draft around them. Like Doublelift was going to go for Zaya or Kaisa, which is fine. He was at Ezreal as like a backup option, but like if you picked a Kali, you couldn't like save it and then potentially like counter pick a mid lane and then swap it to top lane. It was just okay, you know exactly what Liquid's going to do. And you saw it constantly, no matter what side they're on, especially if they're on blue. Liquid had to ban Kiana and Kale because they could never threaten to first pick them because they weren't good at them. So they had to ban them away from people, and that just made all of their drafts so much harder. That's why you see weird shit like they had to go with the Anivia Scion strat just to try to get around some of these power picks because they didn't have the champion pool, and that's unacceptable. Like it's a job requirement at this point. Like, um, no, what do you say? Nah. But uh, I, I'm, uh, oh, I now get that. I remember seeing it, but I hadn't seen the game yet, so now I understand. Okay, it was they had a beautiful strategy. They literally picked the Scion so that they could. So okay, it was a strategy to try to work around the fact that they don't play Kale. And what they were gonna do instead is to try to keep the Kale super down, which has been proven to work. There's plenty of games in which Kale hasn't popped off, and you just punish the fact that like you basically don't have a really formidable champion until level 16, and even that requires good execution, right? Um, yeah, essentially. So the whole plan was to have Scion take red. Like we're back in 2016. Scion dies to red buff and takes it. Uh, gets to level 2, and then you dive the shit out of Kale and just do the old lane swap strats, which like obviously the core of Team Liquid, and really all of them were around for and like understand as a strategy. They were doing it beautifully. Like Kale was level 3 by the time that Impact was level 5. The problem was they had a very tiny window where they had Impact by himself as the bottom lane was coming towards like coming to the actual bottom lane. They needed to do one of two things. They either needed to let the Drake go and just look for it later, and like give extra time, like not try to force a fight because Anivia was still level 5 and Anivia needed it back. So like there was like no pressure. They didn't have mid prio in order to actually start the Drake. Um, so they needed to do. Yes, the legendary ocean drake. They need to do one or two things. So here's the thing. I've heard a lot of people say that they needed to seed it all together. I don't entirely agree with that because Karsa was actually backing, and I'm pretty sure they had vision of that. Not Karsa, sorry. This was against Damwon. So Canyon. Canyon was backing, and I believe they had vision of that. So I actually think if they had immediately forced it with impact there, it immediately creates at worst a 4v4, potentially a 5v5, because you could have Jensen either TP in or just stay there. And you have and like what are Damwon they're gonna do? They have a level 3 Kale. That Kale's not doing anything. You automatically win if you have a 5v4 there. Instead, and then yeah, the second option, the reason why I say they should go with that instead is because I think that in a strat like this, you need to dial on the cheese and go full throttle as much as possible until the game's basically unwinnable for the enemy team. You don't want to go even. Um, so like yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why they lost against IG. Like they were ahead and they were just like, cool, we'll just coast out. It's like, no, kill them now. Like, uh, but yeah, like in this case, they should have had a killer instinct. They should have been a G2. They should have been um like an ID or like right. Like they if they had immediately turned out that Drake, cool. You have Ocean Drake at 5 minutes. Your Scion just hit six. Your Nivea just hit six, and you have free Ocean Drake for those two champions. Like you are going to win this game as long as you don't fuck it up. Um, it would have been like it honestly would have kind of felt like a free win. Instead, they waited about 20 seconds because they let Impact back, then had him TP back in, and this gave time for Canyon to come back. So they engaged. It was like a 4v3 before Denton was able to even make his way over. But at that point, Showmaker was able to establish mid prio on Corki because of course he would, which that was a good counter pick by them as well. And then you had this weird awkward TP. On top of that, like Doublelift was left on the outskirts and nobody actually protected him, so they just used all their CC on Doublelift and killed him. Um, so like it all went to shit. And then with a shot like that, if that happens, the entire time Nuguri was just farming up there, and he gets to level 5 with like 3 free turret plates. So everything went to shit immediately. Um, so, and then from that point, they didn't really bounce back. Like it's kind of a mixed bag because you can say, okay, it's kind of hard to win at that point, but at the same time, you still got to try. Um, so it, they did like, what's up? Double was on Kaisa. Mm, yeah, yep. Nautilus. Mhm. Well, yeah, and like prior to six, Corky has that pressure. So you either need to when like because if you watch closely throughout like all these games, so many plays are made on just back timings. So you either need to make the play on that back timing or you need to wait for six. You don't like see the back timing, wait 20 seconds, therefore negating the back timing, and then try to like what the hell. Mm-hmm. That that single handedly lost in that game, and that literally would have they would have been out of groups. Like but on top of that, it all came down to that final game, and Jensen got a counter pick, got solo killed, and like Doublelift had a really class interview where he like specifically tried to say like, "Hey, look, please don't shit on Impact, please don't shit on Jensen. Like, it's a team effort. Like, we all or whatever." I actually I saw uh, I saw the interview where I forget who was talking to him. I think it was I don't know, it was he was interviewed and he like talked about it, but makes sense that Twitter too. But at the same time, like literally they lost that game because like you gave Rookie a solo kill on a countered pick, and then he got Mobies, broke open top lane, and then like doing pretty well bottom lane, and then they just stack four bottom lane, and he can't do anything. Like yeah, yeah, Syndra as well. That's true. But like you gotta play them. Like you don't. Yes, you don't have a choice to not play. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like he had like a Boba Fire guide open of like, oh well, I win this matchup, so I'm fine. Mm, yeah. Mm. Yeah. I, I agree with what you're saying, and I feel like this it goes to like the whole NA arrogance of like, oh, like we don't need solo queue, like it doesn't help. And like I get that solo queue sucks in NA, like I get that the 70 ping sucks, I get that like no one takes it seriously, and it's just like a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point. But like this is what happens in these other regions. Like they take solo queue so insanely seriously. They recruit from solo queue. Like Tarzan was like or Tarzan in NA was like a rank one in solo queue this year. Do you think anybody's recruiting him? Like, um, but when you don't do that, when you don't practice, when you don't spend the time just like playing the game other than your own bubble and what your team is telling you, you're not going to learn anything. And it's like you went into worlds with like down 2 to 3 picks that all these other teams had. Like, yeah, yeah, Blabber. Mm-hmm. Blabber as well. Yeah, yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, like gold. Yeah, they're smarter with their choice. Yeah, it seems like both. Let's talk about the rest of the group though, because obviously we could literally do a podcast just on Liquid. Um, but so from my understanding, like I said, it was one of the ones that I didn't see as much. It actually looked like Damwon were somewhat gifted it, that they kind of like met them decently evenly, but then IG made like a few careless errors that sort of like gave Damwon the game towards the end. They had to capitalize upon them, and like Damwon does well with like capitalizing on mistakes, but it did seem like IG is not always the most calculated, which is shocking. But yeah, yeah, no, that's entirely it. Like uh, that IG mechanic their way to a championship last year. Like that's literally what they did. It seems like their weakest point is their jungler, and they had a really rough summer where a bunch of their players, like they basically, yeah, yeah. But yeah, it looks like Ricky and the Shy are completely back to form, and I think Nuclear's been holding his own too. Like when he had to solo lane as Yasuo against, because in the lane swap he ended up having to solo lane against Impact, and he held his own. Like he had no issues whatsoever. Um, so like they seem to be on form, and this meta in general just seems to be much more solo lane focused, kind of like what like Loco was saying. Like, and I think he's completely right. You see a lot of these teams that have like having god tier solo laners is no longer like a whoa, that's like just like you have to have it to compete at this level. And you see a lot of these teams as a lot of the same sort of like, if you look at them on paper, they look very similar. They just all have different play styles, but it's just solo lane carries, average bottom laners to slightly above average. I think SKT stands out in that they have uh, well, they have a good spread. On top of that, like Teddy is actually like God tier. Like Teddy is a monster. Uh, but I would put Jackie Love up there too, but he hasn't played. Uh, and also Perks is weird. He is, but he I have a lot of thoughts on Perks. But um, oddly enough, SKT is actually not my pick to win Worlds, but I haven't done it yet. I did my own on just on paper, but I haven't put it up on like the site or anything. So we could do that. A it's all good. Um, it was not close. Like both games, they shellacked them. Like it was. Yeah, let's do it. So Group A being cool. Yeah, we had the G2, Griffin, Cloud9, and Hong Kong Attitude. Mm, okay. So we have the G2 being incredible to begin with, and then showing weakness. We have Griffin showing, I think, like their peak form, and Cloud9 completely falling apart. Um, which I like. I feel bad about, but like I did kind of call, and that like they just don't have like Licorice is like a world class player, but he's not like the Shy. And then like I feel bad most of what I thought was going to come true, but like it kind of did. So yeah, yeah. Their engages were so laughably bad it was like the first time they had ever played with these champions. There was a I think they had an ult for like Shen ulted like Niski and then Svenskeren ulted completely away from the rest of the team, instantly died, and then Kale ulted like nothing. Like I was like, what is happening? Yeah. It was even just mechanical play, dude. They just made bad choices. I saw Stones Karen multiple times just in like engage into a losing 2v2, not realizing that if you fight the jungler near top lane, it's not a 1v1, it's a 2v2. And if you lose that 2v2 by default, why the hell are you engaging? Like it wasn't just one game, it was multiple games that I saw that. And each time I put the jungler, I put him way behind, put top lane way behind, then they have no pressure to like get to Niski, who already wasn't doing much, and then like what's gonna happen? Like you took your one good player and set him behind through just repeated unforced errors. Like, terrible. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, yep, yeah. Could absolutely be a culture thing. It's like I mean, it's kind of like going to a new job and like seeing that just the team around you is not passionate. They're not there to like make things better for each other. Like we've all been through that experience, and it seems like widespread amongst NA teams. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Yep. I mean, look at the way that the pros like talk to the coaches. Like in Korea, it's like, okay, I must listen to my coach. Like they know the best way to win, and I need to win above all else. Like I will play the champions they want. And like from everything I've heard, like in NA coaching, it's like, okay, guys, so like I think we should play this, and they're just like, I don't want to. Like, oh, well, you should. It's like, well, I can win NA without doing that. Like, um, oh, okay, cool. So yeah, yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so Group A, I was definitely yeah. I would never assume I'm never gonna like give a team the benefit of the doubt that they're trying to mind game their competition so much that they're not trying their hardest. Because I think G2 understood how impactful it is to get a second seed and not a first seed. So I would not assume that G2 was not playing their best. What I think happened. So I've been thinking about this a lot because these are some of the games I got to watch a little bit more in depth. Okay, so did you watch through the whole the whole series of Naruto? Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. So then so I think of like these three teams. I think of uh if we think of the heavy era Sasuke when like he's going by that group, or I forget if it was heavy or Taka at that time. But the one like yeah, yeah. And Naruto's like sage mode, and then we have and then imagine that Neji still exists, but that he's of equal power level. And this is how I think of some of these teams. So Griffin is oh, let me remember how I did this. SKT is Naruto, G2 is Sasuke, and Griffin is Neji. And they all match up very interestingly. So the way that Griffin pushes teams aside. The way that they roll over them is that they just build up a lot of pressure and they jab you with very, very tiny jabs that just start to limit your resources little by little. And then once you're weak enough that you don't have no resources, they just like poke you and you fall over because you have nothing left. Uh, Sasuke slash G2 are more like guerrilla fighters who have like sort of like medium level powers that are gonna like they're really fast but not the fastest. They're gonna match you blow for blow, but typically their blows are gonna hit a little bit harder. And then SKT are Naruto because if you watch them closely, Faker a lot of times will act like Naruto in that like obviously a slightly smarter Naruto, but Faker's a little bit arrogant and he can be caught out because you do see it happen sometimes. But SKT is basically saying, "Hi, I'm coming this way through Faker. You know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it anyways, and you just have to stop me." Like I'm really good at a couple of things, but like I'm really good at a couple of things, and you have to stop me. You know what's gonna happen. Just no one can stop me. Um, so that's so I think it's all interesting because I think SKT have a great matchup against Griffin because of that. Because like Griffin wants to like play it very like tactically and like sort of like jab here and there and just build it all up. And like Naruto's like, no, I don't fucking care. I have endless like energy reserves. I'm just gonna barrel over you. Um, whereas like but seriously, if you put Neji and put him at the same power level, obviously he wasn't actually as strong as Sasuke at this time. But if you put him at that same power level as Sasuke, he would have a good matchup because it would be a lot of like tactical like back and forth. Only I think Neji would have a lot quicker jabs and he would actually deplete Sasuke's power source. So if we look at the Griffin versus G2 matchups, that's essentially what happens throughout both of the games. Griffin and Yes, exactly. And the casters put it really well. Like Griffin pressures the map without getting a lot of kills. And the thing with G2 is that G2, anytime that they are challenged, anytime someone takes something from them, they are immediately going to challenge you back. They will never not challenge you back, literally like right then. And if you pass that challenge, you put them even further behind. And if you don't pass that challenge, which most teams can't, then they get right back into the game. Um, and the thing was, Griffin made the first move, G2 challenged them back, and then Griffin said no, and then kept saying no over and over and over again. No, beating the challenge because every time the Griffin tried to get back at them, like um uh, yeah. Um and um and just to further elaborate a little bit on SKT, I know we're not in that group. Like they have the Faker shot. Also, they're the best team fighting team I think in the world. But we'll get more to that. SKT. Um, but um, but yeah, so that's like I think that's the way the matchup goes for the three. Um, but it was really fascinating to watch. Like it was really like actually beautiful play. And that's why I think like I actually think in a best of five Griffin would still beat G2. Um, yeah. Mm, mm. I mean that makes sense. I know a lot of pro teams will continue to do strats that make no sense for a long time, and I've seen it over and over again. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. No, I like you got your Ash. People are always gonna find a way to go back to Ezreal. People are always going to find a way to like Oriana will never not exist. Um but yeah, I completely agree and like that's what's beautiful to see about it like an esport like Melee, where like it's been the same game the whole time and yet we're still seeing craziness happen like every tournament. Like um yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, they're playing enchanters. I'm gonna play engagers. Like, okay, I'm gonna play like more poke range supports. Ooh. Um, I completely agree, and I wish Riot like I appreciate that Riot's so on top of fixing things, but I really wish they would give the game more time to breathe so that people could figure out how things go, like exactly like you were saying. So yeah. Um, but yeah, yeah, that's yeah. God, Group B is such a train wreck. I, yeah, yeah. I think if I think people should look back on this world and just make sure that they remember the context that Group B is one of the worst groups to ever be put up as a world group, like of all time. Um, like this last, yeah, yeah, yeah. It was just bad. Like the context of Group B is why I don't have either of those teams like making it far because they were just all pretty bad. But yeah, so I'm Fun Plus made it out, Splash made it out, and the team. So yeah. um, Europe with the Miracle Run. Um, I like all these games were like they kept saying like, they just don't have sustained damage. I wonder how we could get just like late game scaling sustained damage. Just like put them on a marksman, please. Like, no, I just don't know. I don't know how they're gonna do. Yeah, it completely makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it really is like once again, like kind of what Luca was saying. This is not a marksman meta, and there's like the talent is so high at this worlds that Uzi can't just like embarrass other AD carries like he used to. Like, there's a lot of really good AD carries. He still might be the best one, but like he's not going to embarrass other people. And then I thought Zhahu and Langshin, or however you say his name, never really showed up. I thought, wait, yeah, those are the laners for RNG, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, for Langshin. Yeah, because Gim for yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I like they didn't really impress me much. And like this is a solo lane meta. Like you have all these flex picks, you have all these power picks, you have all this pressure that's being created, and like you're your like you said, your AD carries, like your main meta picks are your carries that are either completely safe or completely ready to engage at any time, which is kind of utility, right? Like it's utility in the face of basically a bunch of assassins roaming around. It's the old assassin meta, except we actually have like better AD carries now. So if you're not set up for that, you're automatically at a disadvantage. And I don't think Uzi was ever in a position to create a big enough advantage to like steamroll over teams. They obviously were still very close, but yeah, Fnatic was able to use the crazy, unheard of strat of picking champions that deal damage. um, yeah, yeah, he really is. He's continually every game. There's been games where they've been completely outclassed, but Nemesis will still be a legitimate threat, pretty much at all points in the game. Um, and the crazy outplay of him pressing R on Faker as Vega. uh, oh yeah. Well, Faker also then tagged him with the E, and then like pulled like the Lee Sin like my body's telling me yes moment, and just went back in, and Nemesis just clicked R and he was dead. Yeah, yeah. That game SKT like hard fed. Like I think they did 3 or 4 tower dives in a row. And yeah, like it was I don't think you would yeah, yeah. I don't think you would see like I think at a best of five that would be the 3-1 win where like the first game is like, oh, Fnatic are in this, and then SKT would choke slam them for 3 more games. Like I don't I don't think it's much. That's what I really think. Like they just went around like they tower dove tier 2 mid with no vision, and then Fnatic were there and just killed them. Like and then they kept diving. It was just oh yeah, it's Cloud9, right? Yeah, yeah. Well, I do think the Vigor pick, like a lot of this meta is defined by dashes, right? Like you see, um, yeah, and they're all using dashes, so like it makes sense to like Vigor's not out of nothing. that's fair. I didn't consider that. Um, but yeah, so I'm not too concerned with SKT's loss to Fnatic. Like I think they're gonna be fine. They do have like some things that you can punish, but I think they'll be fine. Um, Fnatic, it's so hard to get a read on them because it's hard to define their playstyle on that because I think you put it really well with the whole like they cheese and now they're kind of like figuring out their way because like it's pretty easy to watch a lot of these teams and very quickly like define a play style and like see some power picks. And Fnatic, I'm just like, what do they do?
Yeah.
Like good, but I don't understand what they're doing that's like not just like standard meta play. Like um so
Yeah.
um but yeah, that's all right. Do you want to talk about quarterfinal matchups?
Yeah, we can get to that. I'm trying to see if I actually can I fix. I don't think I can fix that. I don't think I can
Okay.
retroactively fix that. I think I've been muted this entire time.
Oh, on the video?
Yeah, because it has Yeah, that's not in here. I don't think. Let me check something.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Ah, we're fine. No, I'll still put this up. I'll also put
Okay.
this up just because like I'm just playing relative commentary, and host duty, and you've got like the other level of analysis and everything. Because like
Hey.
my dream situation is that you just go off and work for like, well, either work in a small tier way or work at Riot. God help you, um,
Yeah.
or work for a team or something like that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
It's
I
so
like
deceiving. It is so deceiving.
oh.
Okay, no,
Uh
it might be okay. Let me run a second gamble. Let me do that.
okay.
That. That's not in. I bet it's doing that though. Um, yeah, I bet it's doing that. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about it. Either this last part of it after the 57-minute mark is gonna have my voice now, or it's not.
Okay.
So
Everything will be okay.
let's go ahead and rotate back. All right, can I fit this in here into the bracket stage? It's gonna be really tiny, everyone. As tiny as it can be made. Is that all? Nope. Cannot get all four in. All right. So do you just want to focus on like each matchup as we go?
Yeah.
Okay. Let
Oh
me.
yeah, I wanna see your pickums too.
Do you want to do the pickums now?
Yeah, here I'll do you wanna tell me yours? Here, I'm gonna
I'm
write
gonna
yours
do
out
them.
as
I'm
you
gonna
say.
do them now. I'm gonna do them now.
Okay.
I just need to get up
Yeah.
the which web page that is. There we go. Um. Okay. Oof. Okay. Do you want to discuss them, or do I just want to like do you want to just pick and then discuss, or discuss them and pick them at the same time?
Let's pick them all out and then we can discuss.
Okay, so we're going at the top there with Griffin versus IG.
Hmm.
Let me frame that out. I could actually, that'd be fun if I could do that. Let's do it with it without it looking like crap production. So Griffin versus IG.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, we can like pick and then discuss as we go. If that's gonna make it easier to
Griffin,
put it
I
up there
think
too.
I actually am thinking on Griffin for this one. Like, unless IG just do a massive overperformance. Oh, let's get
Yeah,
it.
I agree actually. Um, I think Griffin are more solid team, a more consistent team. They have a more impressive
Oh,
jungler. What's up?
okay. I was trying to figure out how to go backwards. Like, I just made Griffin like world champion. I'm like, no, no, I don't want that. I didn't ask for this.
Oh God.
So I'll go positive on Griffin.
Yeah.
Um, I think that can be a 3-2 match, though. I think it can definitely be a 3-2 match. If the solo lane, if the Shy and Rookie like go the fuck off and Jackie Love like gets his shit together, then it can
Yeah.
definitely be a 3-2. But I really think Griffin's gonna take that by the end of it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Same. Uh, I think that like I think they're used to playing against teams that kind of play like IG, and I
mm-hmm.
think they're gonna handle them just the same way they did G2.
Yeah. Okay. Now I think this is gonna
I
be a much, huh?
well, just as a last note, like I think that um, the only way that IG does win this, um, is if they either have a pick they've been hiding this whole time, or I would see more of the Shy as like taking a 1v1 matchup and just absolutely mauling like whatever he has there.
Yeah.
Um, I don't see that happening, but that would be
Mm-hmm.
the only way that I see them winning. And then with them having to over prioritize the Shy, and Rookie can just run rampant and like destroy them. But I don't actually see that happening. That would be the way that they can win.
Yeah. Yeah. No. The solo lanes would have to go the fuck off, or Jackie Love just like pull some Uzi level carry shit. Yay.
Yeah, yeah.
Things
What
finally.
against Viper? No
Who's
way. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Honey?
Hmm.
Oh wait. Oh, he might be oh, she might have bollocks that. Airbnb stuff. Please hold. Broadcast. I apologize.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, someone's already booked for Saturday night, and she hasn't booked yet for tonight yet. And now I'm a little irritated because he just got a freaking deal. Okay, get that taken care of. Well, okay. Business handled. Hopefully people figure their lives out.
You're good.
Okay. Alrighty, so we got Griffin Pickums. Did I log in? I am logged in,
That's
so
a little weird.
yeah. So alrighty, so next Pickums, we're gonna have Fun Plus Phoenix versus
Mm-hmm.
Fnatic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually positive on Fnatic on this one.
Same.
Like I actually
Same.
think Nemesis is ramping up, and as much
Yep.
as Doing like, because as this team's been framed by other analysts, Doinby has to carry the fuck out of this team.
Yep.
And if Nemesis can match him, and Reckless just gets to have his comfort plane, and Hylissang like doesn't throw. Like actually, that's what I'm getting. I'm not gonna play the they all have to play perfectly. It's that Nemesis just stays on the track that he's been, which seems to be consistent. Like he's a rookie that's just unbridled. Like he doesn't give a fuck. Like he's just ready to go. Like I'm at Worlds and I'm not gonna be shy about this shit. Um,
It reminds me of like first year Forbidden.
mhm. Yeah, when Fabivin had a name and out, and then Clutch took it from him.
Oof. Yikes. What is that?
Gosh.
Sorry, you were saying though.
Yeah. And Hylissang just doesn't throw. Just just does his job, and then Whippo just handles his matches fairly. Um, I wish I'd have been following LEC more, um, but I feel like Whippo's really fallen off compared to where he was last year.
Yeah, he was like that sort of like hot spot, like new up and coming person behind
Yeah, he
Soaz.
yeah he usurped Soaz, and
Yeah.
like that was huge. That's huge history for like since the beginning of League. And now it
Yep.
comes into this year, and like he gets on like the EU4 or whatnot before Worlds even starts, and he's like, I'm getting bodied by these people online. It's like, dude, what?
Should you be saying that? That's why like they're so hard to figure out.
How people match up?
Yeah, like, but I do think, like as you're saying, I think Nemesis is the big mainstay, and like I think the big telling thing is that like Nemesis has been good even when they're losing.
Yeah,
In their first game against SKT when they were getting mauled, he was the only one who was still able to do things, and even SKT had to give him respect in team fights.
yeah.
Um, so like that's I think he's a big. I think they got really lucky in
It's
finding
like
him.
it's like him and Caps and Vizichach are like the hopes of the LEC teams, basically. Like,
Yep, and then when Steelback makes his return.
okay, there's an alternative timeline.
Yeah, yeah, a timeline where like you can imagine like an LSE finals where it's like Woolite versus like Steelback.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I also have Fnatic over Fun Plus Phoenix. I've not been impressed with Fun Plus. I think LWX has been, I don't know what's happening with him, but I've been hugely unimpressed by him.
Hmm.
Big reason that I thought JT might take some more wins off them is because like literally I thought Little V was better than LWX.
Yeah.
Um, Gimgoon has been not like bad by any means, but kind of a non-factor. And then like Doon B's weird picks haven't really come through. He might have been comfortable in like the last meta, and maybe this world's meta is like throwing him off, and he's not used to it. And sometimes when you see people like, I love that he plays all the weird picks, but sometimes it's because they don't want to play the meta picks.
Yeah.
So I hope that's the case. But yeah, anyone from that group B, I just cannot trust, considering that all of them look like crap,
Yeah.
all playing against each other. So yeah, I had to go with Fnatic as well.
Yeah. No. Do you think it'll be a 3-1 or 3-2?
Let's see. Oh, and I didn't give the for Griffin versus IG. I actually think that's gonna be either a 3-0 or 3-1. I'm gonna be bold and just say 3-0.
3
Just
3
because I
3-0 IG Griffin?
yeah 3-0 Griffin over IG. Just
You think they're gonna
because
roll them that hard that it, like all like their solo lanes are just gonna be so demoralized after like 2 games? It's just like we're done. Let's go
I feel like
homeless.
every once in a while, like it's just a matchup thing.
Yeah.
Not enough people give 3-0 predictions, so if I'm wrong, that's okay. But I wanna if I'm right, I want to be the one who called it. Um, and then for Fnatic versus Fun Plus, yeah, I could see 3-1. I'd probably 3-1 Fnatic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and make that pick for Fnatic proceeding. Alrighty. And then we'll go to SKT versus Splice. So do you
Match of the century.
do you like your snake smoked or choked? Like how do you want this to go down?
I prefer them burnt to a crisp.
This is gonna be like
Yeah.
it's like
Well,
3-1,
actually,
3-2, 3-0,
like,
like
I'm gonna say like we're all gonna say it's gonna be like a shellacking, but then it'll end up being like 3-2, and people will be like, "Wow!" But no, it should be SKT absolutely demolishing them. Like
yeah.
this should not.
It's,
Um,
you want it's like one of those where like in the situations you want upset, there's a certain level of feeling that you have that your gut gives you where it's like a because this one's like a 5% want 2% upset chance, while the Fnatic FPX has like you feel like that it would be Fnatic upsetting FPX, but your confidence is so high on that upset. Like it's not a,
yeah,
it's so high that it's not even like an upset. Like this is like the Fnatic Fun plus Phoenix is like a fair matchup per se, while this is just like Goliath going through a stroll through a park. And
and
people are
some
like,
kid is
well, people are just like,
lightning.
where's David? And I'm just like, exactly. Like, there's no
It's like you're my friend.
competition. The Philistines are gonna run rampant and rape the Jews. Like, done and
Uh,
done.
but no, this should be uh, this.
Like three
I mean,
one,
like I'm
3-1. Like Splice get one off strategy to like try to
mm,
swing momentum, either opening or closing.
yeah.
But 3-1 is what I'll give it.
I'll say 3-0, but yeah, I could see that happening. But
Just ban Cho'Gath and Vizichachi can't play.
right. Um, I'm glad though that like Splice is facing someone that should just absolutely crush them, so that we don't run into a situation in like I think we had it in 2015 where like H2K played against like Albus Nox and like got
Oh
just sent
yeah,
and like clearly had no business being there and like
yeah.
fourth best team in the world, like okay,
Yeah,
sure.
it's one of those where it's like I love Prawley. Like I've loved Prawley since he was a mid laner on Complexity Black, which was one of my favorite seasons. It was my favorite season, like
Yo,
ever.
same.
That season was so hype for LCS with just
He and
how the teams were like the 80-minute the dream back then.
him on either Ziggs or Lulu at all times, and mainly Ziggs.
No, he had one game where he played Zed and they just literally played the clock game of he would ult then get their Zanyas out of them, and then they try to win the next fight.
Oh my god.
That's literally what the play was for like complexity to
Uh,
like win that match. Just these, oh Jesus, I want to remember the rest of that roster. Alrighty, so SKT takes Splice. I say 3-1, you say 3-0. Now we go to Damwon Gaming versus. Let me bring that up. There we go. Damwon versus G2. Like
this is the match.
I have
This is
to
the
I
one.
have to keep reminding myself Damwon is not Griffin and stop like getting scared. for G2, like getting busted here.
Yeah,
Um, oh jeez, this is gonna be a 3-2 no matter what. It's just like who's gonna have their shit together.
yeah, it'll be pretty close. I give the edge to G2. Um, I think that Demon were third seed for a reason. I
Yeah,
think they have a lot of the same playstyles as a lot of these other teams, but are kind of like slightly lower in quality, slightly less consistent. Nuclear will become more of a liability.
incredibly.
Uh,
Like
yeah,
Perks will shit on him.
yeah,
Yeah. Like if Perks doesn't
like
shit on him two out of the 5 games, I'll be surprised.
yeah, yeah, and like because of that, Canyon will have to like it'll be
Baby.
basically what they would have had to do with Liquid. Only like G2 is a much better team.
Yeah.
And I think what if we see the matchups? So it'll be Showmaker versus Caps. Like I don't Showmaker won't be able to like abuse Caps.
Well, Caps is
And then
also
I think
ramping up. Like Caps is, I think they've sort of all decided their roles in a way. Like
yeah,
Vunder and Yankos are both playing very experimental, while Perks and Caps are playing, and Perks and Caps are just playing very consistent as sort of like the
mm,
insurance policies,
yeah,
and Mickey X is just doing Mickey X things, and that's
mm,
sort of what their formula has been so far, and it
mm,
has given mixed results only because of how Griffin stomped them, and they had to sort of
yeah,
rehash their strategy, like sort of in that micro series of just 2 games. They had to sort of rehash it mid-series to see how they felt if they had to go back to comfort during a series against Griffin. And so I think what this does is that they don't reveal any of their picks they're saving for finals because they're doing G2's doing that. Um,
mm,
it lets them try out one of their bread and butter strategies and try to peak on that like cold in a match that does matter, but they get to sort of feel out like a really good opponent. And
yeah,
so,
yeah,
like, as seeing as G2, in terms of how Dam1 beat IG, if we're going to factor like G2 has far better macro than IG does, while still having powerful solo laners,
yeah,
I will say that I think G2 is going to win it, but it'll be like a 3-2.
yeah.
Because that's
I,
also
I
like Perks is gonna win this entire Perks is gonna win the worlds off of 3-2 wins.
he very well could. God, there's so much to like. I was thinking about this earlier. I think Perks might be like one of the most valuable like players to build a franchise around right now.
Oh
Like
yeah,
one of the most.
yeah.
Uh,
He's a LeBron James with a hairline, and like he's the perfect
considering,
branding that goes into it. Like
mhm. And he's like cocky and a little arrogant, but not unlikable.
no,
Um,
no,
and then like on top of that, so I've been thinking about this a lot. Perks is not an elite tier marksman player. He is very, very, very good. And he
yeah.
is actually like better than 80% of the field out there, which is scary considering like he's just been learning it this year.
Oh,
Uh,
this is where some people want to over specialize or really enjoy the specialization of the ADC role, and I'm
yeah.
sorry, but like that could be like a nice little niche thing, like a little special corner for someone. But like if Perks is able, like if we're gonna like if Doublelift was the caliber of player that he thinks he is and he's trying to be, his transition over to mages should not have been as big of an issue.
Well, yeah, you can absolutely Perks is like much more varied and has like a bigger depth
Well,
of like
because he's had to do that
of,
for his whole career.
you know, yeah. And that's what's so insanely impressive about Perks. Doublelift is still a better marksman player, but
Yeah,
the fact that Perks can plug into that role now, we do have to understand the context that like he is benefited by the fact that it is now more of a hybrid role,
yeah.
and that maybe back in 2015, 16, or any year before it would have been
A
harder.
failed
Um,
experiment or something like that. Yeah,
yeah, or at least like because he would have just been good instead of like an actual asset.
yeah,
Um, but the fact that he had the knowledge of himself, confidence in himself um, to step aside and let Caps take his spot. So that's like humility on top of the confidence,
yeah,
which is crazy. And then have the talent and work ethic to like get to the level that he's at, where he is a very competent marksman player, actually like one of the better ones, just not the absolute best.
yeah.
Um, but still has all these picks that can punish people. GTO is one of the few teams that could probably flex a Kali to 3 different lanes, or Yasuo to 3 different lanes. Like that's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Um, but like Perks is so just if you
Perks
had to
is
build a
doing
defense around him,
Perks is literally the he is very clearly the only player in the world that's probably had the opportunity, but is willing to do anything to win.
yeah,
Like
absolutely
literally
anything.
sacrificing your life's blood role to swap roles and
I
just
would
and do it that well.
I would say the like we've only seen that happen a couple times. One other example I would pick is I would say is like Ambition,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
who like spent 4 or so years just getting absolutely mauled by Faker. Faker took his spot as like the best mid laner in
Yeah.
Korea, best mid laner in the world, and he had that Perks like renaissance, although
Mm.
not in the same context. But he was just like, you know what, I need to win. I'm gonna throw away my ego, and I'm just gonna kill Faker instead.
Yeah. Just go to
Um,
jungle and win it.
Now he has a music video made about him.
I'm sorry that like
um,
as much as I usually don't like music that is that repetitive with its chorus with its refrain. I went and
yeah,
rewatched it like right around when like the discussion of like the New Worlds video was coming out. I rewatched that with the actual music, and I was
yeah.
like, ooh, good chills. I love these storylines they throw into these music videos. Did you ever
Oh my god.
so like quick aside about that specific music video? Did you ever see the Reddit edit where they took the music out and they just put in audio that was like wasteland audio?
No.
Oh, I need to
What the
find
heck?
that.
Oh,
Like, I never was. I saw that before I saw the music video. So when I saw the music video, it was too loud to me because I'd seen a very quiet and very like focused version of that, story. Um,
yeah.
it was beautiful. It was
What
beautiful.
an impressive piece of art though that like because I think it worked beautifully with the music too, and I think you think so as well now. But
Oh
like
yeah.
the fact that you can literally take a piece of it and still plug it with something else, and it could still make you feel something. Like Rise is that thing is a work of art. It still gives me goosebumps as well. Like my girlfriend loves that song too. Like she still gets goosebumps. Like that was that was beautiful. I think Phoenix is definitely good, but like Rise is by far the best one of all of their anthems so far.
Hmm.
It's
Let me see if someone uploaded it there.
I gotta make
Uh,
my tier list of world anthems at some point.
oh, your tier list. I will say like, what year was that? The Z one, because like I've never cared for like the dragon guys, whatever
Yeah,
the hell their name is.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the Z one was I've played that one the most.
Yo, okay, I like the Z one and everyone hates it.
I love that
Like
one. Like,
I love it too. I wouldn't put it. It's not like the absolute best. I think for me the best one is Rise, but Ignite, which is the Z one, like I
yeah,
actually really
Ignite.
enjoyed it as well. And I love the video, like that moment where Faker just at the end just like crushes them as Rise. I'm just like, oh, like.
Like that was just, like that's just especially
And
when he's
you have no.
yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, like that's where like the visuals for that are just like he's on his throne and just the
Mm.
tendrils are coming. It's just like eats broccoli. Like just like little things like that that just speak so hard to like understanding like the like a little piece of a person. And he just
Yeah.
drops down and just runs face and you're just remembering that exact play how it goes out bot lane and they just trash him. Like
See, and
no.
this is why it bothers me so much how Riot and a try so hard to be like other media forms, try so hard to be like traditional sports. Like the coolest things that Riot has ever made are the stuff where they fully embrace how much of nerds we all are.
Yeah.
Like that's the cool shit. That's the stuff that makes us all feel something. Like traditional sports wouldn't make something like that. Like this is a freaking anime that you guys are making about these moments that we all loved and shared. Like do more of that. Stop trying to be like someone else. Just like embrace who you are, and
Yeah.
like when you do, it just creates these unforgettable things. That's why we all want to see a Riot anime. Like, and that's why that's happening now. Like,
Right?
just eh.
Oh, I wish you could find that. A little
It's okay.
esports.
You can send it to me later.
Oh, I want to find it so bad because it's such a gorgeous thing.
Yeah.
Let's do Rise. Um, mm, nothing good. Yeah. Well, okay. So we got. So let's go ahead and finish out the pick'ems actually, so we can get these submitted.
Yep. Of
So
course.
let's jump on back up. Come on, where are you, boy?
But yeah. So
So we have Griffin
I
versus Fnatic.
yep.
Um, so this one's a good question now because they still haven't faced each other yet.
Mm, right.
And there's no history. They haven't faced each other ever. Um,
Right.
so it's like who's gonna have the better team play here? Because they're both very team
Yeah.
oriented teams. So like,
Yeah.
does Fnatic just like get riding high on this one? Like, can they actually beat the Korean Beast now? Like, that's gonna be the narrative running into this. Can they actually beat the Korean Beast?
I would say no. I think so. If we look at like Fnatic, obviously is on a great momentous run right now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like they came out of nothing. Like they got to be feeling like, hey, no matter how far down we go, we can still climb out, and that's great. But if you look at their wins, SKT entered into them like 5 times to give
yeah,
them a lead,
yeah.
and then they faced RNG, who is a team not suited for this meta, and then like they'll probably beat FunPlus, who is also a team not really suited for this meta,
Mm,
and who don't look particularly impressive. Whereas like Griffin, at least at their peak, maybe they won't, maybe they'll underperform. Um, are one of the scariest teams in the tournament.
yeah.
So I think it's going to be a wake up call for them. I don't think they'll be embarrassed. They'll probably have like one game where they are, because I think all
How,
these
how
teams are good
many
enough that like
how many tears will Reckless cry at the end of this match, win or lose?
oh God, it's funny, but at the same time, I respect it. You know, he's showing his passion. He's displaying his emotions.
Yeah.
But
Like, if you're like, it's one of those where it's like, I can appreciate good theatrics, but there's a very interesting fine line between being good theatrics and being manipulative.
mm,
So it's a
mm,
very interesting question there. Like it's sincere crying, and connecting with like the crowd in front of you, especially being there in the middle of Europe. Um, so well, like let's go at least lane by lane here because I actually think Whippo should outperform Sword.
yeah, most likely.
And then you have
Um,
Tarzan versus Broxa, and if Broxa is gonna get on his shit and actually like
okay,
they
but
make it
here's the
out
thing.
of yeah.
Whipple is probably a slightly better player than Sword, but when it comes to outperforming in top lane, like top lane can be such an island,
Mm-hmm.
and yet like all they really need to do is like have good engages, work well with the vision, and play smart,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's like a performance for a top laner right now. Unless you have the top laners who do like the flex in, and both of these players are not really those players. Neither one of these players are a Khan or the Shy or anything like that.
I have a bold hot take that Whippo will get a solo kill on Sword.
Ooh,
Hot take.
you think so? His current form?
I think that if Fnatic follow the path that we've led them on, and they aren't shy about going into this match, especially having been here before, being finalists last year, like almost all this in roster was at finals last year. Like they can taste it. They're there. Like you better be.
Yeah.
They're fucking on, or they walk in here and die like game one. So if they don't walk in and die game one, like from 2 minutes, Whippa's gonna get high enough that he's gonna get a solo on Sword. Now whether or not like Tarzan comes in and kills him afterwards, like beside the point. But if Whippo like has been able to adjust enough with scrims and solo queue with this higher level of play out of these Korean and Chinese solo queuers now, he's gonna kill Sword. I see that happening because Sword overrates himself and
Mm.
is almost a liability for Griffin. I think.
I mean, I that's there's a that has happened at times. And that could be a way that, if that did happen and Sword did become someone they had to put resources into to defend, I think that definitely could be Fnatic's way to victory, because then Nemesis will hold his own against Chovy, and then you could see Reckless pushing an advantage over Viper.
Mm.
Um, so like that absolutely could be the case.
Do you
I
see
don't personally think.
Do you see Hillisang outperforming Lehens in terms of playmaking?
I think it'll depend on the game. They'll probably go back and forth.
Yeah.
That's like how it kind of goes with like engagey playmaking support, where they just have one game where they made the play, so they get far ahead, so it looks like they're way better,
Hmm.
and then the next game the other one does it. So like,
So
um,
is this entire series basically decided? Picks Bard on whether or not Broxa can play up to Tarzan.
kind of yeah, and like if like, so if Whippo overperforms, like if Whippo takes that time, then he makes Brox's life easier, and then Broxa can focus on something else.
Yeah.
Then Tarzan has to like devote time to helping Sword, or maybe Whippo gets so far ahead that like he crushes Viper, and then Chovy's the only one left performing, and then like that's not enough, right?
No.
So
At that
little things
point,
like that,
like
but
at that point, you have to ask the question of is like Nemesis empowered to like beat this? Like they just started having a Gimli Legolas match off. It's like that only counts as one.
yeah, right.
Who's
So
taking
like
out the
if
elephant? Who's taken down?
if these things do happen, like um and like with teams of this caliber, like I think that none of these predictions are silly considering that like all of these teams are really freaking good.
Hmm.
Um
Like this
so
is what's
like
gonna be
that
great. This is what's gonna be great is that there's like maybe one joking semi with SKT versus Splice, but these quarters are just guaranteed to be like good quarters.
yeah, yeah, for sure. It's like I think we got a really good quarter draw because we could have had Fun Plus IG, and that would have just been weird. And we could have had like
Fnatic Splice or something like
yeah, no, we couldn't have had Fnatic Splice, but we could have
yeah
had some weirds.
yeah.
But that's I could, if Fnatic do win, that's probably their roadmap. That being said, I feel like you can also say that about like Sword, um, and you could say that about Griffin as well. So I do still place Griffin, but I'm not saying that you're wrong at all, and I could be totally wrong.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm scared of this
so
going to 5 games actually.
yeah, I think it'll be an intense series. I do give the edge to Griffin. I think Tarzan, Chovy, and Sword are slightly more formidable than like
Hmm.
Brox and Nemesis.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's just I do think Reckless is compensating for the fact that he has fallen down from like anywhere. I don't think you could claim Reckless is an elite tier 80 carry anymore.
Not amongst this company.
Yeah, and like I think some of these picks and some of these strategies have sort of compensated for that, and like I don't think he'll be a liability at all. And like it's Viper. Viper's not particularly impressive, but I think that Reckless is not in any position to really punish Viper, not by any large margin whatsoever.
Yeah, like may have the CS lead, but like
Yeah.
because I think someone actually identified the play pattern. Uzi will foresee the cooldowns that you'll use, and he's prepared to decide on how he's going to interact with those, whether he's going to sidestep or flash them.
Oh my god.
That's sort of how Uzi envisions the play.
Mm.
Like it's more of like I'm gonna start playing this out for like this very aggressive trade off, and I'm expecting these abilities. While Reckless will capitalize, like he'll go aggressive once he sees the cooldowns out,
Mm.
as opposed
Uh,
to as like there's a forethought style in Uzi, and then there's a
mm.
reflexive style with Reckless. Is what
I
was
would,
sort of what was identified.
I would assume that most players play a little bit more like Reckless, and the fact that Uzi can actually keep that all in his head is kind of insane. Like, but that's why he's Uzi.
That's why
Um,
it's Uzi and Faker because Faker basically did that against Ryu with the Zed. If you think about it. Like
oh my
he
god.
remembered every cooldown.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh my god, you're so right because like every single one of his moves, he calculated. But like it was like uh the new Sherlock Holmes movies are not that great, but it kind of felt like that where
Yeah,
he like planned out 17 things that were going to happen,
yeah,
and so when it went through, it was just like it was all
yep,
calculated like hit flash, auto
yep,
attack flash, like cleanse, boom, just
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. All
Um,
right, then.
so yeah, I
Because
say
I feel
Griffin Ryu.
Griffin's gonna take it. I do feel like Griffin's gonna take it because with just how they looked against G2,
Yeah,
how they look against G2. But I'm gonna throw the gamble on Fnatic.
sure,
I'm
totally.
just gonna gamble on it. They're gonna make it to finals. Like we're gonna have an EU finals because we're
Eh,
gonna go to SKT G2 now, and
okay,
like does MSI repeat itself? Does MSI repeat itself?
I say yes.
You say GT is gonna take it?
Yeah.
All right, let me at
Um,
least look at let's at least do a little bit of comparison there between like where is SKT?
so this is
So yeah, yeah.
a little because this is where the Hebi Sasuke destroys Naruto. Um, so like if you watch SKT pretty closely, they are pretty arrogant at times.
Mm.
Like they're gonna put crazy pressure on you, and they typically set it up well. Like SKT's first game against Fnatic was actually beautiful because they played so wonderfully around Vision, but
Mm.
in ways that like nobody else does. Where like Faker would literally just see the jungler somewhere, and then he would just walk out of fog board, just sitting in a bush.
Yo,
Doing that would just
yo,
exert pressure on
real
half.
quick, unimportant detail.
Oh, sorry,
Um, unimportant detail. But they've got a bear in the bot lane again.
they've got a bear.
Yeah, they have Teddy. When they first started going, they had Pumandu. Like the bear powers activate. The dream squad has been assembled, but in spirit this time.
Why have they always had such like they had Teddy, and before they literally had Piglet and Pumandu. Like,
Well, way back when, like Piglet and Pumandu won with Faker back. That was the first time SKT took Worlds, and then
yeah,
after that, it was like the Bang Wolf show.
yeah. For they came over from what was it? I think they're on Najin White Shields.
Mm,
It was either that or Zenix Storm, and then they went over to SKT2 and S, and then in the merger they went over.
yeah.
Uh,
Okay,
they
so
used to play
so back to how this matchup goes. So do you see them? Because like G2 has like one rotatable position, but SKT sitting here with two subs, Mata and Effortless with Clid and Haru. So like there's a lot of flexibility going into this best of five, at least in terms of roster, but I don't think they're really going to use much of it.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened during the season. I wasn't watching that closely, but I don't know why they ended up going with Effort over Mata. Probably some sort of like too many cooks in the kitchen sort of
Yeah,
deal.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, and then who's their other sub?
The other sub, Haru for Clid, but I don't think they're ever going to sub out Clid.
Clid's Beast.
Like,
Um,
yeah,
but okay, so yeah, SKT can sometimes get a little bit arrogant,
mm,
and Faker almost always wants the jungle attention, and he wants an early gank so that he can just snowball.
yeah,
That's how they beat Griffin in the SKT Griffin finals. He played Renekton mid and just shit on Chovy just using a mid lane gank.
yeah,
Um, and like I think he got sick of playing the past couple of years and having to like not get any support. Now he's just
yeah,
like,
yeah,
give me support, played, come here.
yeah.
The thing is, like, G2 are the type to be ready for that and fight back against that, and like they've made their name by being able to beat people on situations like that.
Yeah.
Um,
So do you
the
think
fact,
do you think Yankos and at least specifically like Yankos and Vunder are actually going to like get it together? Like
I
actually
think it'll.
shape up for this? Because that's sort of what we're going to be reading into their matchup with Damwon. Is that's going to be the first sign of like either they I think they could probably get it together somewhat and actually like will themselves through the Damwon series. But when it comes to
Mm,
SKT, there's a certain pedigree of SK that when it comes to SKT, that either you have your shit together to win this, or you're going home.
very true. Very true. Um, for some reason, I think they will. Um, I think, yeah. I guess I'm just saying that they will. Especially considering I think Yankos will be a big difference maker. Not that he's like, not that Clid isn't great, but I think Yankos really, really is great at capitalizing on counter ganks, and I
Yeah.
think SKT are going to keep giving him ammunition.
Hmm.
Um, I think G2's ability to flex everywhere will be a huge benefit.
Did
Um,
G2 have Kiana in their rotation, other than Yankos throwing on it?
no, yeah, no, they absolutely do.
They
Um,
should. Like I would expect that out of them, but
I would assume Caps and Perks can probably both play it. But so basically between these two, I think G2 win if they play their style, the sort of like guerrilla tactics, skirmishes across the map, and winning those by getting Yankos on a strong early game champion and getting one or two good strong lanes.
yeah,
Um, SKT win if it goes to late game team fights because G2 is a great team fighting team, but SKT is the best team fight team in the world. And I can only say that because if you just watch their team fights, they're an absolute thing of beauty.
hmm,
Um, they have three complete, legitimate, world class tier carry threats in every single team fight. Teddy is a fucking monster in team fights. Faker is a monster. Khan is a monster. Like
yeah,
you have to get all three of them or you lose. Um, And like you literally saw team fights where SKT like Faker would get caught out, or like the Rise escape where he was at like 9 health, and then they engaged a 4v5, and Khan and by 4v5 I mean like literally just Khan got like a barrel on like the entire team, killed everyone, and well like almost killed everyone, and then Teddy cleaned up everyone on Kaisa. Like
Yeah.
they are like immaculate. They're so insanely fast. Their mechanics are absolutely insane. Like you cannot catch them. But that only happens if they get the time to have all their items and have their whole team together.
Yeah.
So considering the way G2 plays, I actually think it's a good matchup into them. I think it'll be insanely close.
But
Something like
if the games
the
go past 40 minutes, then it's like really SKT heavy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially considering the way that G2 usually get those advantages, which is by weird picks,
Mm-hmm.
and I think those picks scale as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I do give it to G2, but obviously it'll be insanely close, and that is how SKT wins. So for me, I have G2 beating SKT,
Like 3-2.
and yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. Something
Yeah.
crazy close.
Yeah, I'm on that too, but I'm also just on my European hype train. So you have Griffin and G2 in the finals, and I have an all European finals.
Hey, it could happen. It could
Okay,
happen.
so let's run your scenario of Griffin versus G2.
Yeah.
How does that end? How does that go?
Our Mother Korea takes home the title.
Oh Jesus. The overlords have
So
returned and they want their crown.
I really think though it's there's such an insane quality of like these like three teams, like including SKT, and it really goes back to what I was talking about before. Like um Griffin, I don't think pair up well against SKT, partially just due to mental boom, kind of like what Rox used to deal with against SKT, but also it's just the fact that SKT are just going to barrel forward straight on that one strategy, which is that faker pressure and that late game team fighting. And
Yeah.
like Griffin are at handling just that one unstoppable force.
Yeah.
But Griffin are great at handling a bunch of medium level jabs, which is what like G2 will do that 2-man dive. They'll
Yeah.
do that like 3 or 4-man Drake force, something like
Yeah.
that. And Griffin can handle those things. They can dish them back, and when G2 comes up again to try to like dish another punch, they can slam them down again. It would be insanely close, and we don't know what'll happen by the time this matchup would come along. Maybe they'll be in different forms as they are now. I would have Griffin winning Worlds over G2 in most likely like a crazy back and forth series.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
did I just, oh, jeez, I just reset the entire bracket when I did that. Did I? Or did I close it accidentally? No, there it
Hmm.
is. There it is. That's weird. Okay, there it is. That's what yeah. So so did you see Griffin or G2 winning it out? Because this is now like going. This is now a full like. This is one of those feels like a loser bracket run back up to the top, at least for G2, and now you have to face the guy that initially put you down.
Yep. Yeah.
So does G2 learn from how the group stage ended and figure out how to not get choked out by Griffin?
I don't think so.
You don't
Like
think
I think it would be insanely close. Um, and I would like to like obviously reassess this, but we're just having fun like predicting things right now. But the fact that they were able to do it back to back in like, and if you look like it was reverse matchups too, um like Tarzan bopped Yankos on I think it was Kiana versus Lee Sin, and
and
then Lee
then
Sin versus Kiana.
yeah, like that was the most
Like
embarrassing thing is that like G2 is like we're gonna pick exactly like half like three out of the three of your five champions and just run your strat back at you.
yep.
And I'm just sitting there just like I literally saw that and them doing that like straight away, like minimal hesitation during the draft, and I'm just like they're either going to embarrass the hell out of Griffin or they're gonna see how this feels.
Yep.
Like
Yeah. That's
this is where like I don't it doesn't sound like a strategy that they would do, so I'm probably like trying to drive a narrative that just makes G2 sound like geniuses. Um
okay. The
which is
master.
very possible, just like but I'm just sitting there it's like they're not giving anything. They're not giving anything important. Like everyone knows what perks can pick in terms of like the Zoe pick. Like that was highly optimistic because Zoe's just been so out because she's so skill shot dependent,
Yeah.
and everyone's pretty freaking square on that. Um,
Mhm.
I just, oh boy, it's just seeing Griffin bop him like that was just so depressing. Like,
It was not like one play. It was like a full on full
yeah,
court press. Like, but it's fascinating because it's really like it's play styles. Because I if it I have Griffin beating G2, but I have G2 beating SKT. But I would put SKT over Griffin if they faced,
it's a rock paper scissors, man. It's just rock paper scissors. That's all that is.
or Neji Naruto Sasuke.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah.
Okay, let's talk about though if it was G2 versus Fnatic, which my God, we would hear about this from Europe for the next 10 years.
Oh yeah, no, this is officially like EU is greater than an A forever. But I'm at the point that if I was like a pro LCS player, I would literally just quit my LCS career and just go live in Europe and just go stream in Europe until like a team picks me up there. Like
Yeah, honestly,
like I just
like
I
try to get onto
I
try to
would
get onto Fnatic.
if there was
Like
an LCS brain drain into Europe, I wouldn't be mad.
I can't blame them. Like
Like
that's
Western
it's
powers combined, we shall win the World Series. Like
the better move to try to actually like be on a world's winning team at this point.
yeah.
Like can't argue with that. But okay, so G2 versus Fnatic. The last two times these teams have faced, they've both gone to best of fives. Like gone to game fives. I would have to go back and watch how they match up to know more about it. But if we're just like postulating, it's also put into context how they've been performing now. So Wonder's been underperforming.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be less of an impact because I know before Whippo was having issues with Wonder, right? Or Wunder, right?
Um, in terms of the matchup, no,
Yeah,
I think at this point both teams are maxed out. And then it's a question of whether or not the callbacks to like an entire season of Whipple being Bunder's bitch equates to like that being carried out. So like either Whipple overcomes his demons, or Wonder like maintains his dominance. Um, and Fnatic basically just get to like force like because think about the ban situation there. And it's all blue side, red side dependent. But
yeah,
like now TF is a must ban by G2 again.
mm,
So they have to force ban Pantheon. They have to
yeah.
ban like TF, and then like what happens with like Kiana, Akali, and if Kale is still
Probably like,
relevant. Like there's five bans like right there. Is this all those
well,
power
yeah,
picks? Like
that
like
probably be like TF, Kiana, and Pantheon, and then let's see. So let's say Fnatic is on blue side, and they ban away. They get secure like a primo. Hmm. I feel like they would want to ban junglers at that point. I feel like that'd be the best thing to do because like solo lanes, you're not gonna get the best solo lane. It's like there's too much talent there. You're not gonna be able to ban them out. If it were me, I would try to take away like I would take away Gragas and I would take away or first pick Gragas,
yeah,
and take away Lee Sin and like maybe even Jarvan too. So maybe ban like Jarvan Lee Sin and then like just a random ban, and then like take the Gragas so that you have the Gragas, force Yankos onto something like but he's so good on Rek'Sai.
mm-hmm.
Even triple ban Yankos, that's what I would do because like Yankos facilitates all of them. If you don't give him someone he can actually make an impact on early,
Yeah.
like
Like force
then
him on a
like
Sejuani
yeah,
and
something
try not to
awkward
end.
where yeah, that like I honestly think that would be the best thing to do. From the blue side, on the red side, it'll obviously be a lot harder, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Video. No. Sound? That'd be great if that was it.
Yeah.
Sound.
Okay, so you have G2 winning Worlds over Fnatic.
Yeah, I would say they'd pull it out. Like, I'd say they pull it out. Like they get like two down and they have to run it all the way back like they did both times. Like, it's just the ultimate just clap. We're just like, yeah, we've been here. You got one. Okay. All right, let's must reverse sweep. And Perks is like perfection.
Reverse sweep Worlds.
It's what they do. It's just what like comfort as Perks is set for him. is being 2-0 down.
Hmm.
That's like his comfort place.
Interesting.
That's like we're on one-offs now.
I mean, at least we can say that like Doublelift has progressed in his career in that before he couldn't win like a single series, and now he's won like multiple reverse sweeps.
Yeah, but
So
the world's group stage still.
he's really good at going 3-3. He's very consistent.
I swear, I'll say this till the day I die. That like that what was it 2000 and was it 2017 TSM roster? Yeah, it's
Uh,
2017 TSM
uh,
roster with
are you talking
Hans.
about?
Yeah, with Bjergsen, Hanser, Svenskeren, Doublelift, and um, Biofrost.
Yeah, I think that was 2016. Well, it was both, but you can
I'm trying
continue.
to
Sorry.
remember. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the year of the Worlds for it. Because last year Liquid didn't make it out because they had Paul Belter. TSM didn't make it because 100 Thieves went, and everyone was sad about that. Um, and then the year before was, I think that was, yeah, I think that was TSM with that, like, the best roster TSM ever had in Bjergsen Doublelift.
Yeah.
I swear, like, that team doesn't get choky and they run it. They do the best performance NA's ever seen, like, convincingly.
Yeah, that was a sad time.
Yeah.
There's nothing more you could have done to make that roster at that point. Like it was just
No,
all
I
good
think that
performance.
I think the roster should have done it.
Yeah,
The only issue that roster had, I think, was choking and just being burdened by expectation from the
yeah,
fans. Like that is forever like the excuse, but it's also like the culture of TSM that just weighs its players down. Like I swear the culture of TSM is what and NA's culture is what's just making Sven just the worst ADC.
yeah. But and like I agree with all that. At the same time, like
Win.
you know, we can't keep using that excuse because like SKT have all that pressure, and
They do, but their culture is also built on winning. And American and the NA culture is not based off winning. Like there's just this very toxic culture that comes out of solo queue and just how like Riot has affected its own culture in a way, perhaps. But that's its own little runaround. So yeah, I predict G2 win. It's on a 3-2 basis, and
cool.
we have Europe is the number one region in the world, and I just get to get out my Spaniard flag and be like, I believed in the Spaniard team the whole time.
Nope, nope. Oh
No
God,
chance.
Ocelot
No
would just
chance.
like um
Ocelot, Ocelot's head would explode twice from that ego boost. Like,
yeah, it would be bad.
just whips his dick out on the world stage. Just
It just actually does it. Like
no,
Brett has to
yeah,
like,
I'm not.
cancel the broadcast.
I'm not hesitating on what I'm saying here. Like,
Yeah.
just goes up to shocks.
God, it'd be bad.
Maximum disrespect acquired. Like, horrible things. But yeah. All right,
Okay.
let's submit these. I don't know if we're past the due date. Let me see here. Can I submit? Can I submit? Where can I submit?
You can just submit yours and I'll submit mine like afterwards.
Oh yeah, there's another day left actually. I thought there was an hour left because I saw the one earlier, but there's still like a
Hmm.
day left.
Yeah, because I think it starts on Saturday.
Um, yeah,
Or Saturday.
it's 1 day, 5 hours, and 1 minute right now.
Yeah.
So now
I'm gonna.
I'll get that entered in and get those pick'em points for the world's essence or whatever. Alrighty, but that'll be our pick'ems for going into Saturday, 6 a.m. call time, motherfucker. I will not be able to watch anything because I'll be shooting a podcast like at 11, and then we're going on a date like at 4. So like, my day is booked.
I'll be decently busy. I work on Saturday. I don't work on Sunday. But I think we're doing something.
But we'll have all next week to like watch, catch up, and then do our quarterfinals podcast. So we'll
And
be
it won't be 24 games this time.
no, it'll be well. Actually, wait, 5, 10, 15, 20 at the most.
Yeah.
20
But,
games at the most.
somewhere between 12 and 20.
I forgot about that. Oh yeah, it's best of fives. Oh, please throw,
So,
please throw. Someone throw, someone throw.
all right, man. Well, thank you so much. This has been another really good time.
No problem. And we'll catch y'all next time. This has been P2 Esports League of Legends Editions Episode 2 going into Worlds. We're about to get into quarters. Everyone get out your EU flags because NA is dead. And we need all the support we can get. Night, everyone.